Hey friends, I had to come on here again. Hopefully this will be real brief. I just have to I just have to say what I got to say and go about my day, and I just wouldn't feel good knowing that people are going to fall into a trap. I don't know. I guess people have to do their own homework, their own research to figure out what to buy and from who to buy it. But I just can't. I just got to point some things out, and then it is what it is. Because the last time I did one of these videos where I talked about Cemetery Dance and how they're doing a cash grab for Man in the Black Suit, and then how they've done subsequent cash grabs for store credit that never materializes. Store credit that you give them $100, you get $100 in store credit, and that store credit is just imaginary money. And then the slipcases that they brought back from the dead, right? They're going to do 250 slipcases for 5 different books at a total of 1,250 slipcases, but you may never see them. They might be printed backwards or upside down or some sort of bullshit, right? So there's a lot of chicanery. I feel like Cemetery Dance is getting very desperate, trying to pump money into this corpse of a business. And then they came out with this email, which I don't know what to say, because they're trying to sell, or they're not trying to. They will sell Stephen King's trade edition. For those who don't know, they don't even have the title of the Oh, they do. Okay, sorry, I was just piling on. That's okay. It's okay. Sometimes you got to pile on. Cemetery Dance is selling Other Worlds in These by Stephen King and Peter Straub. Peter Straub unfortunately passed before this book could be published. This is Talisman 3, Talisman and Black House. Well, Talisman was like one of my favorite books. I read it when I was like 14, 15, whatever, how old. But it was right in the sweet spot to see this fantastic coming of age story about a kid who discovers he can flip between universes, and he's off on a quest to save his mother, who's also a queen in this other dimension. Brilliant book. I absolutely adored it. I don't remember anything from Black House, which was the sequel, and I knew that there had been in the works a 3rd volume to fill out the trilogy, and then Peter Straub passed, so I never thought I'd see this book. Well, it's been announced. It's coming out October 6th. I'm beyond stoked for it. And I think when I saw this email from Cemetery Dance, that is why I kind of like, they are just annoying. So they're selling the book for $35, a hardcover edition, $35. And then all this postage. And again, you cannot pay this on the website. You do not pay for this through the Cemetery Dance website. I should look it up, but I didn't beforehand, so I didn't see. So no, it's not on their website. Here it is. If you need to see that for yourself. But I just went over there, and I'm not seeing Other Worlds Than These. I am seeing A Face in the Crowd, which is still waiting King's signature. They charge 4,000. When I did my last Cemetery Dance live rant, I was contacted by a number of people, and one of those people said he had over $12,000 worth of outstanding orders with Cemetery Dance, and that could just be 4 books. It could be Face in the Crowd, Flight or Fright, lettered edition. There's just big whales of titles that, the lettered edition Pet Sematary, the lettered edition of The Stand. These huge books that it doesn't take a lot to get to $12,000 if you're a Stephen King collector. I personally don't see. I think I know that they're official books. It's bona fide. If you're a Stephen King collector, you want to be a completist. And so you hold on to hope that Cemetery Dance doesn't go out of business with your $12,000. And that's why you kind of hopefully cheer on these sales. Just stay afloat, Dick Chiz. Just keep that money flowing, and we will all see our books, and they're just waiting for it. I just can't see the casual person going by buying a trade hardcover that you can get right now on Barnes & Noble. Let me show you this. right? You can get it for $24.50. You save 30%. Barnes and Noble knows how to ship a book. They do fine, if I recall. I think Books A Million was a disappointment, but Barnes and Noble knows how to ship a book still. Amazon, you can get it on Amazon. It's right now it's $35 for the pre-order, but Amazon usually drops that price way down. You'll probably get price matching, so it's not a big deal. You don't need to order it right now. It's a trade edition. There doesn't need to be the rush out the door to order the damn book. It's not going to go out of stock anywhere. You'll have plenty of opportunity. So if you order from Amazon, you'll probably get it real cheap. They don't know how to ship a book, so it'll come dinged. But if you're just reading it and you're not a collector and you don't care about that sort of thing, I don't know who that fits. But you can wait and get it for far less than $35. But wait, there's more, because if you end up paying Cemetery Dance for the privilege of a trade edition, and you're paying Richard Chizmar directly because their IT guy says they can't take money on the site. What? We're a legitimate business. We can't take it right now. So just, show up to the back of the business and, have your cash ready and just pay Richie himself. He'll make sure that it gets into the bank account of Cemetery Dance, and then it's all legitimate in business, above board business. So don't worry about that. But you just can't come in through the front door and use their credit card machine. You get it. And it's just a little something that we got to work through right now. Tax purposes, whatever. Their accountants are telling them, whatever. I don't know. So if you are so foolish as to order other worlds than these from Cemetery Dance, not only will it arrive super late, I can promise, that is a promise Chizmar will keep. It will arrive super late or late. You're going to get two sizes of books from Cemetery Dance. You're going to get late or you're going to get super late. Either way, if you're a super fan of Stephen King and you really want to read it like I used to when I was a teenager, you want to read it the day it comes out. You're like, bam, you go to the bookstore. There's a big display. It's like, it's a giddy moment. It used to be. I don't know what kids do now. But for me, you go to the mall, there it is, the big display. You grab a nice copy, you look at the cover. It's a great feeling. You rush home and you sit down and you read that because you're a kid and you have no responsibilities. I don't know if anybody like that exists in this world anymore, but it's what you used to do. That's what a real fan does. A real fan wants that book as soon as possible or earlier. If you get it from Cemetery Dance, you're going to pay full freight. They're not doing a sale. They're charging you full price. They're going to ship it late, and you might not even get a first edition, first printing. For example, this book came out from the gatekeepers of fiction, Christopher Golden and Brian Keene, the fantastic gatekeepers. They decide who you need to read and who's unapproved. But regardless, Josh Malerman's in here. He's awesome. That guy transcends gates. He just floats above them, just sails right in. Joe Lansdale's in here too because the gatekeepers can't keep him out. Why would they? Anyway. This book came out and I had to get it. And I bought 2 copies so I can get a Joe Lansdale signature. And this is the one that has the Joe Lansdale signature. And it also had a Bev Vincent signature. And I got another copy that has Josh Malerman and Jonathan Janz in it. So very cool. And I bought them from independent bookstores, not Amazon, because you can't get stuff like this from Amazon. Signed editions at cover price. You don't get a discount on signed editions, but nor should you. And I got these from 2 different booksellers. The authors were in store signing the day of the release. So it was a very cool event that was held at multiple different stores around the country, and a different selection of authors were there. And I could have hunted all the other authors that I would like to have signatures from down. Ronald Malfi was one of them, but I was too late. I was too late to get his. I really wanted that. Anyway, Yeah, another surprise live. Hey, Zach, good to see you. Um, so when people ordered this from Cemetery Dance, they also ordered it with a slipcase. And now they're never going to see that slipcase, or they won't for quite some time. I really don't know if it is even in the production updates of slipcases that they have ready to go or in the works, custom slipcases. Um, no, maybe they didn't do. They're still finishing the tray case design for Strange Weather. Holy shit. Anyway. Oh, okay. So underway in tray case production. They're doing Gwendy's Magic Feather. Wow. So okay, they're not doing a slipcase for End of the World as we know it. So there's really no reason to buy it. What's up? What is the oldest book CD has sold that still hasn't shipped? I don't know. I could speak from experience. I have a book I bought in 2013 that still isn't out. At least not in the edition I bought. It was Turn Down the Lights. It came out in a trade edition, an artist edition. I don't think it came out in a lettered edition. But I bought the artist edition and it's still not out. This was 2013. So there are people I think they've been waiting for books since 2011. But I don't know. I don't go that far back. So it's absolutely a criminal operation at this point. But when you pay and you get a book from a publisher that's close to Stephen King, you at least expect a first edition, first printing. But a lot of people got theirs, and there was like a third printing. They're like, "What is this shit?" So I don't know what they're doing, why they would be so far down on the distribution list from the publisher. They don't promise that you'll get a first edition, first printing. So it's not like that's another lie that they're telling. There's a book you can buy anywhere and get sooner and probably cheaper. So it's a hardcover edition, $35 plus $10 postage. So if you walk into a Barnes and Noble, you don't even have to pay postage. Make your payment, then email your payment confirmation and name address to cemeterydance@aol.com, which is awesome because payment is accepted via PayPal at that same address. So wouldn't you already be notified of the payment from PayPal? Why do you have to go through this extra step? So you're paying through the back door directly to Richard Chismar. Then you have to notify Cemetery Dance that you bought it. So all they're going to do is see the receipt and mark you down as somebody who ordered it, deserves one when it ships. And it's totally separate. It's like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, and the money is going directly to Richard Chismar. I love it. I love it. I would of course, this is just my opinion. I have no information. He is probably uh hopefully following the law and saying this is a business this money is business money, not personal income money. You have to draw those lines, right? We have I don't know how many more IRS agents in the world, and they're hungry. I don't know. They need money. The government always needs money. So I don't know how he's drawn the line, and I hope it's all above board. I have no information that it's any other thing, but this just screams desperation. And then yeah, it expires tonight at midnight. Match It credit, where you will pay $100 and get $100 in imaginary money. You give them 100 very real dollars, and then they come up with some other imaginary money that you can never use because they don't allow you to use store credit on all this other shit. So that's another thing. I like that they're bundling the scams together. And then, the man in the black suit, a story that is in Everything's Eventual with a number of other excellent Stephen King stories. But this one's going to be printed separate from the rest for reasons. for reasons. There are reasons. It's going to be a perfect bound paperback, a hardcover print on demand chapbook, and then a deluxe letter tray cased lettered edition where they're going to put that trade edition, that hardcover, in a case for the privilege of spending $750. But with original Glenn Chadbourne art, which again, I still don't know how that's going to get pulled off with no prints and no tip-ins. So is he drawing directly in the book? Like, this could just be my ignorance of not knowing how to bind a book. But if they're original pieces of art, that means they're drawn directly on the paper that you get, and that's the only place they exist. And it says, making your specific edition truly one of a kind. So that means nobody else in the world has these. They are directly drawn from Glenn Chadbourne into the book because it's not tipped in and it's not an additional print that's enclosed in the tray case. How that gets pulled off, I'm gonna love to see it if and when those pictures ever surface. Though for me, if I was silly enough to spend $750 on a story that is in a book right now on my shelf, and then it's printed on demand, that they may never see. Let's just be honest. There may never be photos because it may never appear anywhere. Because if it's not print on demand, that means they're printing it. That means they're throwing it in the queue. That means they're waiting for their other backlog of books to get out the door like a constipated ogre pushing out years old shit. And in that case, you're not going to see the man in the black suit till after Pet Cemetery, which means what, another 5 years for your chapbook that you paid $750 for? And how hard is he whipping Glenn Chadbourne to draw these illustrations? Because really, what you're paying, I would rather commission original art directly from Glenn Chadbourne. If you go on Stephen King Overlook Connection Press or Overlook Connection Press, I know he's present there. I would rather just commission him to do an original piece of art if that's what you want, because that's really all Dick Chiz is selling here is Glenn Chadbourne's effort. So again, how to order since it's not on the website. It's never going to be on the website. The IT guy is never going to. Oh, and then here's the other scam. Thank you for making this so goddamn easy. The custom stamped Stephen King slipcases, which will take forever and which could be possibly printed upside down or backwards, just like that Holly slipcase. All in one convenient email, all the scams. Boom, 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 boom. I hope to God nobody buys any of this garbage. It's ridiculous. Again, how to order since these cases are not on the website. I do like how they're so goddamn lazy. They just continue with these emails, and then when they know that it doesn't look good, they just do payment ordering info. They dropped off since it's not on the website, calling attention to the shenanigan back end run around the business. Are they accounting for every single dime that comes in? I hope so. Oh man, what a load of shit. Just whatever you do, do not ever in any circumstance buy a trade edition from or anything at all from Cemetery Dance. But this is the easiest thing to avoid, because if you are a diehard Stephen King collector, you may feel compelled, absolutely determined, like you absolutely need to get The Man in the Black Suit because it is part of Stephen King's publication bibliography, right? It's a legitimate book done by Stephen King, and it exists, and it's something you need to have, like every other bit of his publishing history. So you're going to need it if you're a completist. That's why I think we saw that one collector sounding off in the Friends of Cemetery Dance Facebook group, because he's compelled to buy it and he's pissed off that he is, because this is ridiculous. And all the insulting ways they go about doing their business. It's really just making all the customers their bitches. Really. It's such an insult. And I'd love to see people avoid it. You want a first edition, first printing, go to goddamn Costco. I don't know if they sell books anymore. Just go there. Go to your local indie bookstore. I would love to go to an independent bookstore and pay full price and keep those bookstores going and get a good, beautiful, right, 90-degree corner book from them and keep them afloat than pump any more money into this monster. That's what I would like to see. This is not a recommendation to buy or sell books. Consult your own financial advisor before making any purchasing decisions. But this is just my strong recommendation, and I had to do it in case. And just remember, there are other booksellers than CD. So let me see what you've been saying. Original copy of the Bible. That's the oldest book. CD edition of The Stand is nice, though. Okay, so if you're just tuning in to CD right now and you see the Cemetery Dance edition of The Stand, it is nice, but it is definitely not what they used to do. It is subpar compared to The Shining, Salem's Lot. It's right after The Shining. This is when Cemetery Dance started going off a cliff. They did The Shining, and that is gorgeous. I got the artist edition with a remark in it from Glenn Chamborn. Love that book. It is just a stellar book. And then it was a long time before Night Shift came out. And when Night Shift came out, it was on phone book paper. The paper is so thin. It doesn't have to be, because Night Shift is not like an 800-page book. They could have gone with a heavier weight paper, but that would have been more money. And they already spent the money they got when they promised Night Shift. So all that money goes away. They have to buy an inferior quality paper to get Night Shift just out the door. So I got Night Shift, and yes, the binding and the tray case are nice, but they're not what The Shining was. And it should have been, the paper should have been at least as good as The Shining. Then years and years later, we get The Stand. And The Stand, again, is that very thin paper. It is a little justifiable because The Stand is such a big book that you have to go with a lighter paper. Otherwise, you have to split it into 2 volumes. And that does price increases and all that other stuff. So, okay, you can give them a pass on the paper, but the artwork was not credited to the artist. That is a huge insult to one of the artists who work on it. His name's not mentioned on the copyright page. It is a huge oversight for a book that took him 7 years to publish. And the quality is just not there. That the boards are phoned in. Like, they're not even, like, if I showed you The Stand here, which I have on hand, and I could show you the boards. That's it. It's just like that, right? It's just the title treatment, and it's very, very plain. Nothing at all. Whereas the other ones had, I could show you The Shining. Or even, let's just do Night Shift. So this is the artist edition of Night Shift, and it's a little better. It's like, I'm kind of not making a really good argument here, but it's, in a lot of ways, it's the same template they're using, but still not worth the wait and not worth the excitement. And it's like, I have bad feelings when I look at that on my shelf, and that was one of my most anticipated titles. So yes, while it is nicer than a trade edition, it is less than what they used to do. And I should just grab The Shining because the paper is so much better. It is worse than what they used to do, and it's years late. So there's so many reasons to ding that copy. or that production, that publication. It's not worth it. At this point, you might as well just walk into your local bookstore and get a copy. Newer King novels probably have millions printed. In the first printing, it shouldn't be hard to get one. No, that's my whole point. Why would you go through Cemetery Dance, get it later than everybody else? There were a lot of people. It wasn't just the end of the world as we know it. I forgot what other books. Holly wasn't even a first print. People were complaining, and then Dan Franklin got on the keyboard and he's like, I don't know. One of our pallets was his third printing, but the other ones were firsts. If you're not happy, you could send back your third printing and we'll refund you your money. We're sorry. We don't know why we got sent that. Like, they're just victims constantly of the world. Oh, poor Cemetery Dance, what they have to deal with. It's just like a rain cloud that follows them around only. Good afternoon. Happy for a surprise live. Thank you, Patty. It's just, I feel compelled. The power of Chiz compels me. Just be glad he didn't get Uncle Stevie to sign and up the price to 4K. Well, yes, that is true. I laughed and I was telling my wife, producer Jill, about that particular thing where he did A Face in the Crowd. It's a short story you can get for free on Kindle. Stephen King authored A Face in the Crowd with Stuart Onan. So it's a short story that he co-authored. So let's just be generous and say Stephen King wrote 50% of the story, which it could be Stuart Onan wrote 80% and Stephen King, helped shape it into something Stephen King-ish. Who knows? Let's just be generous and say 50-50. And because it was so slender of a story, Richard Chizmar threw one of his stories into the mix, and he created some stupid flip book design, trying to be cute and clever and actually create more interest in this piece of shit publication than could possibly be injected into it. So he threw one of his stories in it to pad the page count, a story nobody asked for. And not only was he super late getting it out, he credited the wrong artist for the cover. This also involved Francois Vaillancourt, and it was really late, miscredited, and then he sold the lettered edition, which is the trade edition hardcover in a tray case with a signature sheet for $4,000. And it's a lettered edition where you have to run the alphabet twice because that's the way Stephen King. That's the way Cemetery Dance works with Stephen King. Well, all lettered editions. There are 52 lettered editions. There's only 26 letters in the goddamn alphabet, but they got to milk it. And then they do they do 52 lettered editions, and then they do 100 more lettered edition PC editions. So they inflate the print run. They're always finding shit in the warehouse to sell to people who missed out initially. What a wonderful break for them. Yeah. So you're paying $4,000 for a signature. There was a stupider publication than Face in the Crowd, which hasn't even shipped yet. And that was the Shawshank Bible. They took a Bible. This wasn't Cemetery Dance, so I'm not going to drag that. But it was another edition where they carved a Bible, and then that's what they did. They took a Bible and they cut a hole in it in the shape of a hammer, and then they got Stephen King to sign it. And that was like $4,000. And it was even more if you wanted a hammer to go in the book. Stupidest thing I ever saw in my life. But they all know Stephen King's signature gets people to pay. I was so disappointed in CDs this stand. Yeah, I think it's fair. If you're coming to Cemetery Dance, if you're a new collector and you don't know the history and you see that, yeah, it's like, oh, it's a nice book. It's got art in it. It's got a lot of art in it. And it's got a nice binding, and yay for this awesome Stephen King story. And I don't want to crap all over your joy. Just know that a lot of there were a lot of missteps with that book, and it's an echo of what they used to be. So I don't think it was a good release for them. I don't think there will ever be another good release for them. So you could wait for Cemetery Dance's Pet Cemetery. You could, maybe. I remember when Brian James Freeman was still there, I suggested to him that for that title, they should change the C and the CD logo to S for cemetery, like Pet Cemetery. That'd be fun. So it'd be SD. And, you know, now it's like an STD. Anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to do. Just wanted to warn people away from getting the damn trade edition for Cemetery Dance. No need for that. Don't do it. They are a dumpster fire. And just because maybe they haven't hurt you yet or whatever, just know Dick doesn't pay his authors, doesn't pay his artists until they bitch. And it's like they have to wrestle the money out of him. He does a lot of shenanigans, but taking money off of the website through the back door. All these things are really bad things. And just stay away. And yeah, ultimately, what are you risking? You're not risking anything. It's $35. Just go buy from someone else. Don't support a dickhead. But that's all I got for now. Just wanted to do that. I'm compelled to do it. I hope you all have the enjoyable rest of your day. And maybe Cemetery Dance free. I would buy the Folio Society Pet Cemetery before I would buy the CD edition. Yes, I would do that as well, Patty. It's a good idea. Oh, producer Jill says hi, Patty. She says hi. It's so nice that she saw some of you at Jeff Con. That was nice. Now she knows people. So that made me very happy. But anyway, that's it. I hope I steered at least one or two people away from making a mistake. It would make me happy. I wish I could get their email list. I know a guy who can maybe get me their email list. And then I could just email everybody and say, hey, listen, if you're getting this email, you're on Cemetery Dance's email list. Just think before you buy. Just think. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you all Monday night. And I'm sure I'll have a video in between now and then. And I hope I don't have to do these CD rants ever again. But I will every time I see something stupid. I'm going to call it out. So take it easy and stay frosty.